How's it going, ScrubGamers? Welcome back to another video here at ScrubGames, and today we have a Never Have I Understanding How to Build series where we go over each of the leaders in a given set to help you understand how to play them and build them to suit you and your playstyle. Now, we have done all the leaders in the set, and on this week we are going over the last two being the starter deck leads, because each set has a starter deck, and we're going over ones of those, and yesterday we did Moff Gideon, and today we're doing the Mandalorian. So if you're interested in the Mandalorian, then feel free to stay tuned and help get some useful health information. And also don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. It keeps you updated with my videos as and when they drop. And by clicking the notification bell, you can get alerts to when my videos do drop to watch them there and then or at a later time that suits you best. So if you're interested, let's go ahead and get into it. Remember, we do not give out lists. If you are looking for a list, you will be sadly disappointed. But if you're looking for information to help you build the deck yourself, then stay tuned. So, as we normally like to do, we like to go over the leader and the ACC what it wants to do, because while some are generic, some are quite theme focused on a certain kind of way to play, or even a kind of certain trait. And with the Mandalorian, he is all about upgrades. He's got like a kind of focus and a kind of theme regarding upgrades. So he is the Mandalorian. He's not Din Djarin. He's Mandalorian. For some reason, they give him just called him the Mandalorian, even though he's got a name, being Din Djarin. If you've seen the series, which is probably one of the main series I've seen. And he is quite a nice leader. He comes down with like Boba level stats, because when he deploys, which is an epic action, you can take once a game to deploy the leader out from the leader area into the battle. And you can do that by reading a certain amount of resources, which for the Mandalorian, sworn to the creed, that is 6 or more resources. So as early as turn 5 if you don't run. So he comes down, as I said, with Boba level stats at 4 power and 7 health, which is very, very good. 6 resources, which is not too late but not too early. And he's got some pretty nice traits, being the Bounty Hunter and Mandalorian traits. So he gets all the benefits from the Mandalorian, and some nice benefits from the Bounty Hunter trait as well. He also provides you with the aspects, being Cunning and Heroism. So he's got those. So those are what 2 you get from the 3 that you get from your combination leader and base. And as I said, he's got a focus on upgrades, because he's all about upgrades. So when you play an upgrade, he gets an effect, and it changes from when he's in the lead area to the to when he's deployed in the ground arena, and kind of when he's normally deployed is when he gets stronger, but it's still a pretty nice effect. Because when he's in the lead area, his effect is when you play an upgrade, you may exhaust this leader, and if you do, you exhaust an enemy unit with 4 or less remaining HP, so you can heal, like basically just tap something down, which kind of like is a kind of theme for Cunning, to then as anything is 4 or less remaining HP. And then when you deploy him, it's a little bit different, where now you don't have to tap or anything. It's just when you play an upgrade, you may exhaust an enemy unit with 6 or less remaining HP, and that's not once a turn, or like once a phase. You can use that multiple times, so if you upgrade multiple times, you can rest quite a few things, and it's got like a higher bit, now we're at 6 or more remaining HP, so you can, like the only thing about it hitting a certain amount of HP means you can hit things at like high power, low power. The difference is all about HP. So if something's like big and bulky, get really touch it. If something's not too bulky, not much health left, you can tap it down with this, which is nice. And the good thing is it can hit anything, even leaders like Space Arena, Ground Arena. As long as it's got 6 remaining HP or 4 remaining HP, depending on where it's deployed, you can hit some pretty nice things. Also, don't forget, he gets a showcase, because unlike with set 1, set 2 got showcases for the starter decks, and the Mandalorian is one of my favourite ones, because it looks pretty nice, like pretty like old school kind of look, like focus of the art. Also, is just Mandalorian. He's always epic. And once again, remember, art showcases are alternative arts, and art is subjective. So if you like it, fair enough. If you don't like it, fair enough. From my view, outside other than Ray, this one's one of my favorite ones in the set 2, and ones I kind of want to pick up. So, like we said, he's got a focus on using upgrades, so you kind of might want to kind of know like what kind of upgrades you get, and there are some pretty nice ones, some really nice ones. Like, also, given that fact he's a Mandalorian, you've got some nice benefits here. Like, some of the best ones for each color are like the Mandalorian R, being a good blue one. 2 cost upgrades provide you with a 1 free boost to your stats. And when played, if the attached unit is Mandalorian, which the Mandalorian is, you give a shield token to it. So it's a nice one to put on your leader to run from a 4/7 to a 5/10, and also give him a shield to kind of protect him once as well from damage. So that's pretty nice if you go for the blue option. And you got the Dark Saber, which this is a nice one, which doesn't matter what aspect you go, you can still include this, because it has a nice little benefit of while playing this upgrade on Mandalorian unit, which the Mandalorian is, you ignore his aspect penalty. Meaning you can play this in any Mandalorian build, no matter if you're playing command or not as a base. Because as long as you put it on the Mandalorian himself, you're ignoring the aspect penalty, so you don't have to worry too much about it. And this one's more of an expensive one, and also is one of the legendaries as well, so it might be a little bit more costly in terms of price. But it's a 4 cost upgrade that gives an extra 4 free to stats. Once again, it turns it from a 4/7 to an 8/10, which is very good. And if you go for a Mandalorian focus deck, this is a nice one because when it gives the extra effect of when it attacking, you give an experience token to each ever friendly Mandalorian unit. So you're playing at Mandalorians, you can then equip this onto your leader and make it huge, and then swing and boost up all your Mandalorians when he attacks, which is very, very nice. You've also got Hotshot Blaster here, being a nice one, and this is when you can, once again, just like Darksaber, you can play in any of your builds with Mandalorian, because while it is a red card, it's an aggression card that costs 1 and gives an extra 2 power to a unit. It gets the benefit of not having to worry about the aspect because you can smuggle it in, and the smuggle cost is free, and also the cunning aspect. So this means you can play in any build of Mandalorian you want, because you're always going to be resourcing this and playing it for using smuggle, which, given that your leader's cunning, you're always going to have access to that aspect. And the benefit of smuggling it out is like you might be thinking, why would you not smuggle it out when it costs 1 and a 1 if you go red to give 2 power, whereas you'd be costing 3 if you resource it. Well, if you resource it, smuggle it out. Well, when it's got an effect, well, when you play it using smuggle, you can attack with the attached unit. So if you were to normally just equip this using action equip this, you'd have to then use a never action to attack. Whereas by smuggle it in, you do it all in one action to equip it, and then attack with that unit, which is fantastic. And in Cunning, which is the aspect Mandalorian is, you get some pretty nice upgrades in there. Like you got Jetpack is a really nice one because it's a 2 cost upgrade. It gives an extra 2 power to a unit, just like a Hotshot Blaster, just a bit more expensive. But you can also smuggle it in just like you can with Hotshot Blaster, just a little bit more expensive at 4. And when played, you give a shield token to attach unit. Then at the end of the regroup, start of the regroup phase, at the end of the turn, you defeat that token. So this is one of those ones where you're normally going to be using this one when you're aiming to take out a unit, attacking to a unit rather than a base. Because since the shield token is going to be defeated at the end of the turn, you might as well make use of that shield and use it to attack into something and take something out while also taking no damage back, so you'll lose the shield instead. So make use of that shield. And these are just a taste of some of the upgrades you got. You got things like bounties as well that are upgrades that you can use go for a bounty focus in it, and you got other upgrades as well. These are just ones from set 2 that give a nice addition to the Mandalorian with its kind of theme of focusing on upgrades. Also, like I said, you've got access to bounties, so you've got a bounty in each different aspect. You've got these ones. You've got some that cost 0, some that cost some resources, but they all have nice benefits. And all these ones give a bounty to the card equipped. So Public Enemy, they also, remember, because they're bounties, they give no stat boost to a card because you're only boosting up a card with a bounty. That's not how it works. But each of these have some nice effects, like the blue one, Public Enemy. This was a bounty where if you defeat and claim the bounty, or defeat the unit and claim the bounty, you give a shield token to a unit. So you can give a shield token to your leader, any one of your units that you want. If you equip Bounty Hunter's Quarium and then claim this bounty, this one lets you search the top 5 cards of your deck, or 10 instead if the card that was the card the bounty was on was unique, for a cost of 3 or less, and play it for free. So potentially play out some things for free, which is quite nice. You got Death Mark, where the bounty is draw 2 cards. So by claiming the bounty here, you draw 2 brand new cards. And you got Wanted, which you can play no matter what, because the Mandalorian is Cunning himself without incurring the aspect penalty, which is ready 2 resources, which is quite nice. And the nice thing is, when these bounties, you can put on your opponent's card, then trigger the Mandalorian to then rest that card, so they can't, rest either that card if it's got 4 less remaining HP, or 6 remaining HP, depending when you're if it's deployed or not, or another card to kind of tap it down while putting a bounty on one of your opponent's cards. So a nice little benefit there of going either bounty route or just the normal upgrades. Also remember, you got different aspect combinations you can go for, and depending on what base you go with, you can get the aspects of one of these 4 different combinations. And remember, the Mandalorian himself gives you the access to Heroism, which is white, and Cunning, which is yellow. Now, depending on which base you go with, you get an extra aspect. So if you go for a blue base, which is Vigilance, you get access to white, yellow, blue. If you go for a command base, which is green, you get access to white, yellow, green. If you go for an aggression base, you get access to red, which is aggression, and that gives you white, yellow, red. And if you go for a cunning base, which is yellow, you get access to white and double yellow, so 2 yellow aspects. So you might be thinking, what are the benefits of each of these aspects? What can they do? Because each one kind of does have like a theme and like a focus, like an identity essentially. And they do each one. We're going to go over that now. Because for Vigilance is the blue one. And this wants you to play defensively with the ability to heal, remove dangerous threats from play, and protect your base from attacks. And this is an aspect that's absolutely perfect for anybody who's like patient play style and likes to play out grindy games. So if you have a like for that, and also a nice little benefit addition with that aspect for Mandalorian is there are a fair few Mandalorian cards in Vision. So if you want to play a Mandalorian Focus, you've got a good amount there to go for a Mandalorian Focus if you want to go for that. You also have Command, which is like the green aspect, which is a ramp, and this wants you to accelerate your resources and call upon lots of units or strike for the units you have in play. And this is an aspect choice that is perfect for anybody who's overwhelming their opponent with a massive board presence. So if you want to ramp up your resources without some big things or a lot of things quickly, Command is a very good one for you. Then you have Aggression, which is a red aspect, and just like the name suggests, it's a very aggressive aspect, more focusing on throwing out damage to your opponent's base or units. And this is one that wants to attack with maximum efficiency and dish out loads of damage. And this is an aspect that is a great fit for people who like fast-paced fire play styles and break through your opponent's defenses by hurling damage at them until you achieve victory. And also, once again, just like Vigilance, another addition to this is red has also a fair amount of Mandalorians. They're mostly out in the red and blue traits or aspects. So if you want Mandalorian Focus, those two are good ones to go for. And then lastly, you have Cunning. So Cunning is one that's already on the Mandalorian himself. And this is one of my favorite aspects because the kind of identity of it is to adapt to any situation on the fly with powerful immediate effects and also have lots of tools disrupting your opponent's game plan. Now this is an aspect that's absolutely perfect for anybody who likes to prefer have a response to anything your opponent would have, or even throw anything at your opponent to disrupt them in what they want to do. So throw threats at them or disrupt whatever they want to do. So if you like that kind of play style, that's already built into the Mandalorian, and you can get access to it as well with the base to go for double aspect as well. And also remember, there's also something called the aspect penalty. So this is important to have what aspect is on your leader and base because it allows you to have the certain amount of aspects. And the aspect penalty is something where if you want to play a card, because you can play any card in your deck and play any card in general, but when it comes to playing a card, the aspects come in clutch. Because any aspect that doesn't match what's on the card, any aspect on a card you want to play, if it doesn't match what's on your leader or base, you have to pay an extra 2 resources per aspect that doesn't match. So say if you had the Mandalorian with a blue base, you'd have access to white, yellow, and blue. I mean, if you want to play just a white card, just a yellow card, just a blue card, or a blue white or a white yellow card, you'd have to pay it for the normal cost. Just what is no aspect on it, you just pay it for what its cost on the card is. But say you wanted to play a red card with that same combination, because red doesn't match what's on your base or leader, you have to pay an extra 2 per. So if it's a free cost and you had the red and it's red, you have to pay 5 for it in total because extra 2 on top of its cost. And if it was a red-black card, that's 2 aspects that match. So with, once again, being a free cost with that same combination, you'd have to pay an extra 4 because both the red and the black aspect don't match. So it'd be a 7 card if it was normally a free cost. And also do remember that aspects only provide 1 of each aspect. So if you want to go for double yellow, then if you don't have a yellow base, say I had the same combination of Mandalorian with a blue base, if you want to play a double yellow card, while the Mandalorian provides you with the yellow aspect, it only provides you 1, so that'll cover 1 of them. Because you don't have the second yellow aspect among your leader base, you have to pay an extra 2 on top to basically play the card. So that's why it's important to figure out what aspect you want to go with what your base and your leader, because they play an important part with aspect penalty. Now, while some cards may not be worth the aspect penalty, some cards actually can be worth it, so you have to figure that out, because the extra cost could be worth the effect on the card, or like the kind of situation that it could be beneficial for. So that's where you need to figure it out, see what could be useful, because a lot of things like some of the double aspect cards like Vigilance and Cunning are still played out of aspect because they're just that great that people still pay them even if it costs 2 more than its normal cost. So do bear that in mind. Now, since we have covered that, we're now going to go over the ratios because it's important to understand when you want how many copies of each card you want in your deck. Because in this game, you can play up to 3 copies of any given card, so you can play over 1, 2, or 3 copies of a card, and it's relevant to know when you want to play that amount for each one. So, for 3 copies of a card, technically, these are ones where you want to have either see it as early as possible or see as many as early as possible, because you might want it as like a turn 1 play or to see it early in the game to kind of kickstart your options and your kind of game plan. And it's normally usually for cards you want to see multiple copies of or for first in play. So things like Grief Karga here is 2 costs, 2/2 stats, and 1 play that's the top 5 cards of your deck for an upgrade to reveal it and draw it. So it kind of works pretty well the Mandalorian to find those upgrades, but also it's a good turn 1 play to make use of your first 2 energy and kind of get something on the board as well. Because you're playing something on the board, get an effect, and you're using out your resources to actually do something and establish something out. So that's normally what you want to have for 3 copies of a card. Now for 2 copies of a card, These are usually cards that are good for the later game or the mid game, or like bigger threats like Chewbacca here. And these are ones you don't really have to, you don't have a full play set off, because if you don't want to see too many of them, or you don't want to see them early, and you don't want to see loads of them early. Because if you see them early, you don't see loads of them early, you're either going to be resourcing it, which then, unless it's got smuggle, you're not going to be having access to it again, because you basically resource it is no longer accessible. Or you're keeping them in your hand to save them for a later game, but then that means you're reducing the amount of options you have by keeping it in your hand, and then you have less to do early because you're holding it to use it late game. And then you got one copy of card. Now these are for normal tech choices. That could be cards that are like very powerful but good for certain situations or good for certain times, and can be great but normally great at 1 out of 10 times. So even 9 times they're not very useful. So like things like Final Showdown here, I mean, a very amazing card, 6 cost, that lets you ready all units you control, but at the end of the turn, basically start a regret phase, you lose the game. So it's normally when your opponent takes initiative and you've got 6 resources, and if you've got enough damage on the units on board to swing for game, you can then use it, restand, swing for game, and let's say you've won before you lose at the end. But that's not always going to be something that comes up every single game, absolutely, like guaranteed. So it might be there for, like, you might include in your deck for if it comes up, it could be useful. But then in times it isn't useful, you can either, if you don't see it, you don't care, and if you do see it, you can easily resource it and not worry about it. Easy charge. So that's the ratio. So hopefully that's helped explain like when you want 3, 2, or 1 copies of a card. And now you can move on to the aspects and what benefit they give for each combination. So let's get into that. So let's start off with the double aspects, because the thing with that is when set 1 you were very limited, and while double cunning was one of the better of the aspect combinations, because all 3 of the first cards were, or double aspect cards, were great and were playable, you still have a very limited card pool. Because if you went for a yellow and blue as your combination, you'd have access to all the yellow cards and all the blue cards. But by going double aspect, you sacrifice the whole different aspect. So you sacrifice all of blue, all of green, all of yellow. All of green, all of blue, and all of red to have access to all of yellow and just 3 additional double aspect cards. Now, the benefit for yellow was that its 3 double aspect cards are very, very good. So going double aspect in green in the first set was not a problem. But still, most of the leaders, mostly all the aspects, only had 1 leader in each one. That was great and worthwhile going double aspect. But then with a second set, you get double of almost everything, and it gives you more options. And now going double aspect for any leader is now actually a kind of more viable option than it was for a set. And don't forget that with your leader, you have a base to kind of give you this aspect combination. And for yellow, you've got access to, for all of them, you've got access to either a rare base or one of the many 30 health bases. So the differences are the 30 health bases are just 30 health with no effect, just maximum health and no effect. But then the rare bases, they are 25 health, so a little bit less health by 5. But at sacrifice that 5 health, you get an epic action, which, just like a deploy, is an action you can use once a game, and they normally do not, none of them actually affect the leader. And for yellow, it's Jeddah City, which is the epic action to give a non-leader unit -4 power for this phase. So it makes it, so it's not great, it's not amazing, but it makes it so something's weaker that's not a leader. So either just hits a little bit less harder, or does it hit as hard, or it's easier to take out with less clapback when you attack it and take it out. So those are those ones, and also remember with with each set we got double aspects, and yellow got less double aspects in double yellow. It technically did. They did get a card that technically is a double aspect, but only on the smuggle, which you can still play it in a deck that isn't double aspect and still play out normally as a decent card, but is not truly a double aspect card. So yet technically yellow got 3 in the first set, same as everything else, but then only 2 for set 2. Now, the ones they got for set 1 were very good, because you got Bodhi Rook being a solid 3 cost 3/3 with a great effect when played. You look at your opponent's hand and rip out any non-leader or non-unit card in it. So that'd be either any event or any upgrade they have. So that's a great one, especially with destructing things like Command, when they have like resupply as an event to help them ramp. You can play this out before they get to play their resupply, rip it out of hand so they can't ramp that turn, or they've got less options if they don't have a second. You also have Cantina Bouncer, while not having the best stats, it's a 5 cost 3/5. Still has a very nice effect. When played, you can return any non-leader unit to its owner's hand. That could be either yours, so you can basically bounce a card back to reuse it when played, or when your opponent's turn, units to set back, so after they've paid to spend a whole turn playing out a card, bounce it back to their hand, so they have to spend the whole next turn playing it back out. And then you have Cunning. So this is something that all aspects have. All aspects have a 4-cost event named after the aspect itself, and it gives you 4 options, and you get to choose two of any of them on there. and resolve them in any order. And Cunning probably has the best of the options because they're all fantastic and all great. So the options are either return a non-leader unit with 4 less power to its owner's hand, so a more restrictive version of Katina Bounce's effect. You can give a unit 4 power for this phase, make something like a lot bigger, so either hits a lot harder, or is then stronger to take out something that you want to take out. It's also up to 2 units, so tapping down 2 units that your opponent has, so they can't attack with them or use their action effects or anything like that. And then the last one is making an opponent discard a random card from the hand. So this is nice to give a bit of hand control, which yellow probably has quite a few tools to do. And along with that as well, it's random, so your opponent doesn't get to discard what card they want. They have to do it by random, so they potentially lose something they didn't want to lose. So those are the 3 you got from the first set. Very nice cards. And in set 2, you got some 2 new ones that are also pretty good. You get a new adventure, which is a pretty nice one. It's a 2-cost event. It allows you to return any non-leader unit back to its owner's hand at 6 or less. So anything that costs 6 or less, yours or your opponent's back to hand, and then that owner may play it back out for free. So this is very nice because it's a kind of way to play, reuse a card that you have that has a one-played effect. So basically bounce it back and play it back straight back again for free. The trigger to one played, or even do some really nasty things like effects, like being able to like anything that can come in, say active, say something that comes back into play as a something that comes back into play like ready rather than exhausted. You can bounce it back so you can play it back out again, play ready and attack with it again per se. And also you've got Final Showdown, the kind of one we saw when it comes to the ratios. This is a very nice one because it's a 6 cost, raise everything, but end of the turn you lose the game. But then if you're into a point where your opponent's taking initiative, so they've sacrificed all their actions for the rest of the turn to go first the next turn, and you still have a turn, you still have 6 resources open, and you got enough damage on board to eventually finish the game, you can play this, ready everything, attack with it, end the game there. So this is really like a kind of like sneaky card where if you got the resources to do it and you can kind of finish the game, your opponent's not careful, you can finish the game in there. And that's why, like now with double aspect, double yellow, you need to watch out if your opponent's got a resource to play this. You need to watch out if you take an initiative, because if they can drop this and have enough damage for a game, and you give it all your actions, you basically leave yourself wide open to basically being taken out by this. So that is a double aspect, and now we're going to move on to everyone. So if you like a more controlling game, I don't know if you want to focus on more upgrades, and there isn't any double yellow upgrades in yellow. There's still some other upgrades in yellow, pretty quite nice. You got Assault Jetpack, and you also have Snapshot Reflex as well, being a nice one to go with as well. So there are some pretty nice ones, and it gives a more controlling color and probably double aspect. The best double aspect is probably double Cunning. Then next we have the blue aspects. So this is where we got a fair few Mandalorian cards in. So if you want to go for a more Mandalorian focus, this is one of the 2 better aspects for it. And it's one that gives you quite nice stuff because it's got some pretty nice upgrades, like a fair few as well, and some pretty beneficial ones. Also, in the light side, you haven't got many events or upgrades in the light side of blue, because some pretty good cards. They got pretty nice space units in Restored Arc and Concord Dawn, being very nice ones, pretty cheap ones as well. Now, my Restored Arc is not a Mandalorian unit, but it's a cheap one you can play turn 1 that has Restore 1, while Concord Dawn Interceptors is a Mandalorian unit that is quite a nice Sentinel for the Space Arena at 3. You also have Yoda, which is a pretty nice unit one, also once again not being a Mandalorian. It's a pretty nice one because when it's defeated, you can choose yourself as a player and draw a card, and also gives you Restore 2, quite cheap as well at 3 cost. And you got some good Mandalorians like the Armorer and the Mandalorian. So the Mandalorian himself being a legendary unit. 6 costs, 5/6, so never Sentinel for blue, like 6 or Sentinel. So making it easier if you want opponent to go to your base or another unit in that same arena, they have to get through him before they go to the rest. And when played, he allows you to heal all damage from a unit that costs 2 or less and give it 2 shield tokens, so it's kind of protected doubly by shields. Speaking of shields, you also got the Armor, because that's kind of the same thing. It's a 5 cost 3/5, so same stats as the Katina Bouncer. But when played, you give shield tokens to each of up to 3 Mandalorian units. That could be itself, your leader, and another Mandalorian on board. It could be in space, it could be in ground. This is a very nice one that just basically give 3 Mandalorian units, including itself, shields, which is very, very nice. Get that protection as well, and even then, because shields are also upgrades, anything that needs an upgrade to do something, then that's technically a thing. Because then also, once again, remember, if you play this, you give shield tokens, and you can rest up to 3 things as well, thanks to the Mandalorian. I think you can rest 3 things, or maybe 1 thing. I think it's 3 things one at a time, because you can put them on, and or I don't remember if it just rest 1 because you put it at the same time. I need to check that out. But also, you've got some nice stuff in just the normal side of blue as well. Like you've got Survivor's Gauntlet, also time well, also being one being a Mandalorian, so it's a Mandalorian space unit, and also 2 time well with upgrades as well. Because what it allows you to do is a 5 cost 4/6 that, when played on attack, allows you to attach an upgrade from a unit to a never eligible unit controlled by the same player. So either move around up, it allows you to basically move upgrades around on your units to your units, or your opponent's units to ever upgrade your opponent's units. So kind of like moving stuff on, like say you got upgrade on your opponent's units that you want to move to something different that's got less of a benefit to it, you can do that. Or move stuff around yours to kind of like move a shield from one unit to another unit whenever it's played or attacked. Pretty nice there. You also got some pretty nice upgrades like Electro Staff, Mandalorian Armor. Mandalorian Armor we've always seen. If you go for Mandalorian Focus, that's not a vehicle. Then you can play it on one, give it a 1 free boost, and also then give it a shield if it's a Mandalorian. And then you got Electro Staff being a nice upgrade, which gives it extra 2 cost, 2/2 stats, and also gives the effect of it where while attached to while the unit is defending, the attacker gets -1 power, so you take less damage from being attacked, which is quite nice. Put this on Sentinel, which they have to attack into it to kind of attack, and then you take less damage, and he's even stronger as well. You also have some very nice events as well, like your Covert Strength being a very nice one to heal damage from a unit, and then give it to experience to it, which then experiences a unit upgrade, so you kind of benefit from those like upgrades as well. And also it's a very cheap one of 1, and you can smuggle it in for free resources as well. And you also have nice events, like removal events like Rebel's Fall, allowing you to, for 6, defeat any unit, and you've got a fair few different kind of removal events in blue, going like given different kind of reasons, like Father Dragon hits a 5 or higher power unit that's not a leader, and things like that. So very nice removals. So if you want to go for a good Mandalorian focus or good like upgrade focus, then here we go. Blue is a good one for you. You also got green as well. Green could be a nice one. Remember, you do get Dark Saber in here in this aspect, but also you don't have to worry about playing green just play Dark Saber, because if you're focusing on just putting the Mandalorian himself, then you can play it ignoring the aspect penalty because he's a Mandalorian. But green does offer you some nice things. Like I forgot to say, like Security Complex was the base for blue, giving you a shield, while Energy Conversion Lab is the green rare base, which gives you the epic action of paying a unit cost 6 or less and get an ambush. Now you might be thinking, what is the benefit of ambush? Well, when you play a unit, it comes in rested unless otherwise stated. But ambush allows you to play a unit, ready it, and then attack into one of your opponent's units the same turn as played. Not a base, but another unit, giving you a way to attack straight into. Now you do have to still pay the cost of this, the card you're playing from this. You're not playing for free, but you get the benefit of giving it ambush, which is a very good skill. You also got some pretty nice cards, like you've got some good units, like a Sundari Peacekeeper, also being a Mandalorian, so I kind of out of focus, being a good unit. General Riken as well being a nice one in Helm 1. So Sundari Peacekeeper is a free cost 1/5 that has not the best stats, but it has Raid 2 and Restore 2, meaning when it attacks, it gains 2 power and heals 2 from your base. So very nice there, and also Mandalorian to get a benefit of Mandalorian traits. You also got General Riken being a 6 cost 5/7, which is pretty solid stats. That also has an effect where both on played or when attacking, you can do it, which is choose a friendly unit, and if it has Sentinel, it gains an experience. Otherwise, it gains a Sentinel for this phase. So even when you can play off of an Energy Conversion Lab to kind of get some ambush in, and because it's ambushing both then being played and attacking that same turn, you can get his effect off twice, because it's one played for 1 and then on attack for another. So you can choose, like, say, himself, and because he hasn't got Sentinel, he gains Sentinel. And then on the second time, because he now has Sentinel, he gains experience, or choose something else to gain Sentinel, or even boost up any card. Yeah, either choose another card and gain Sentinel, or give a card that does have Sentinel an extra boost, which is quite nice. Also, you have Home 1, which is a very nice one that kind of spam the board, because it's a nice space unit as well, an 8 cost 7/7. Gives you Restore 2 on itself, and all your friendly units Restore 1, so they swinging and healing as well. And when it's played, you can play a heroic unit from your discard pile, and it costs 3 less. So you can either play like Sundari Peacekeeper out for free, or you can play something bigger out as long as you got the resources to play it, but it comes in free cost cheaper. Not only that, but you do get like the some upgrades, like you get Inspire Mentor being a nice upgrade, a 2 cost 1/1, so not the best stats for its cost, but it gives the attached unit on attack or when that card's defeated. When it attacks, it gives a spirit token to another friendly unit, so you can put on your leader, so it's swinging and boosting up your other units, like a mini Dark Saber, basically for anything, and or if it's defeated, you get the given experience token as well. You also get U-Ring Reinforcement as a way to kind of spam the board, because it's a 7 cost event, so quite costly, but very good, because it allows you to look at the top 10 cards of your deck and can put up to 3 units that are combined 7 costs or less and play them out for free. So you can either get 1 big cost, a couple of small, or 2 small costs, like smaller cost ones, or 3 mini ones as well. So you can basically get a loadout, and there's some pretty nice units you can get after this, and even place like something big for free. And because it's paying for free, the asset penalty doesn't affect the card you're playing, so you bear that in mind. And now for the normal part of green, we have some pretty nice ones. You have Cobb Banff, you have a very good unit where just it's one that can basically is like gives you like a floating effect. Because when it's defeated, you can look at the top 10 cards of your deck, find any unit that costs 2 or less and put it in your discard. Then for this phase, you can play that unit from your discard pile for free. So you can kind of keep something on board thanks to this, and it has decent stats for its cost, free cost, free 2. And you got some nice upgrades like Darksaber being a one that basically you've already gone over. Put it on the Mandalorian, you can put it into any Mandalorian build because as long as you put it on himself, then you don't have to worry about aspect hunting or the aspects at all. It's a solid boost to any unit, and also when the unit attacks, they give an experience token to each ever friendly Mandalorian unit. Very nice card. And you even got things like Traitoress. This is one that can like snatch your opponent's cards, like small units, because it only takes control of a unit if it's cost 3 or less. But it's also one that triggers on the Mandalorian to basically take one of your opponent's unit and rest another one of theirs after because there's an upgrade being played. Very nice one there. You got also some nice events. You got resupplies and Neverway to ramp to kind of increase your resources to plant more things or bigger things quicker. And timing intervention that kind of be a mini ELC, mini version lab because it's a way to give ambush. Once again, you do also pay the cost because it allows you for one to play a unit for your hand, still paying the cost of that unit, and give it ambush for that phase. And this is one that can be smuggled out because it's got a smuggle cost as well, so you can resource it and play out later in the game. So if you want to go for that more like big, like widespreading board, like more like build it, bring out bigger things and ramping higher, then Command could be a good one for you. And then the last one we bring is the aggression aspect. And once again, it's a never aspect that has a fair few Mandalorians that can you can benefit from going Mandalorian focus. And the rare base is Attacking Town. Now, why it is effect is just to deal 3 damage to a damage not leader unit. Once again, not affecting the leader, but also it doesn't just outright put some damage on something. It's got to be something that's damaged. But if you're trying to take something out and fall just short, then you can use this as a way to kind of finish it off. It's very nice there. And you got some pretty nice heroic units as well. You got Ketsuo being a Mandalorian unit. Pretty nice one, a 2 cost 3 2. Has Saboteur, so it can ignore a Sentinel and defeat shields on whatever attacks. And if it does deal damage to a opponent's base, you can defeat any upgrade that costs 2 or less, and that could be experience, shields, or 2 costs or less upgrade, which is very nice. Kind of you got upgrade hate in that as well. You also have Red Free, being a unit that can boost up all your heroic units by all your ever friendly heroic units gain Ray 1, and he gains Ray 1 himself, being a very nice space unit. And then you got things like Poe Dameron being a very nice legendary, being a cheap one at 5 with solid stats at 5 cost 6/6. And whenever it attacks, you can discard up to 3 cards from your hand, and for each card discarded this way, you can choose one of these different options. You can't just choose the same option 3 times. Like you have to basically choose a different option for each card you discard. So you can't just go like, yeah, I'm gonna do one option 3 times. It's got to be a different one each time. So you can either discard 1 card to do any one of them, discard 2 cards to do up to any 2 of them, or discard 3 to do all 3 options. And the options are until 2 damage to a unit or base, defeat an upgrade, or make your opponent discard a card from their hand. So pretty nice effects, great way to finish it off, and it's kind of like a good way to kind of just push through, take out something potentially 8 damage, take up some upgrades like capacity upgrades your opponent might have, or make your opponent discard a card and add more hand control to it. Because red-yellow could be a very good way to go hand control, given like hand controls, like there's a few hand controls in both those aspects. You also have Heroic Resolve being a good upgrade. Once again, a cheap upgrade. It has a benefit later on. Like it's just a 1 cost, it gives a 1/1 boost. But later on, you've got a way to kind of use it better and do more damage, or even do like some sneaky damage because of its action, which is by paying 2 and defeating a copy of itself on a unit. You can on the same unit. You can attack with this unit. It gets extra 4 power for that attack, and also gains Overwhelm. So if it does any excess damage when it defeats a unit, it goes to your opponent's base. So this could be a way to just basically get a cheeky 4 damage boost and attack in one action from one of the units that you've got this under, and kind of potentially take game. And if you go for a full-on, like more focused heroic build of it, you got for a calls kind of like a way to kind of deal damage without needing to attack. Because it's a free cost event that allows you to reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, and for each heroic card you reveal this way, you deal damage to your opponent's base. And then you can discard any number of the revealed cards and put the rest back in any order on top of your deck in any order. So you kind of manage what you're going to draw on the next turn, get rid of any cards you don't want, or even set up what you're kind of going to draw into. And in the non-heroic side, you've got some pretty nice cards. You've got Wolf for a good way to kind of like hold off healing. It's not a nice effect when played or when attacking. You basically can't be healed. So if you're annoyed, if you don't want people to heal their base after like going harm and basically going hard with damage on the base, Wolf can be a way to stop them from doing it. You got Clan Challenges, being a very nice Mandalorian unit, very big one, being a 5 cost 3/6, not the biggest power, but it's got raid 3, so when it attacks, it's hitting for 6, not just 3. And if it's upgraded, which you can have a focus on with Mandalorian, it gains Overwhelm. So if it's taken out a unit, then it's got Overwhelm to do like piercing damage essentially. And you even got IG-11 if you want to go for like a more bounty hunter focus, because it's a 5 cost 6/5, so pretty strong stats. Hitting for 6 and 5 health is not too bad for a 5 cost. And your opponent can capture it, because if it would be captured, you defeat him instead and deal 3 damage to each of your opponent's ground units instead. And on attack, you can deal 3 damage to anything that's damaged. So if you put him like a Van Brace Flavor, you can swing. On attack, use a Fan Brace, which I probably should go over that first, be an upgrade. That is a free cost 1/1 upgrade, so a free cost, but it gives 1/1 stats. So not the biggest boost for a free cost, but has a very nice on attack where you can deal 3 damage to divide as you choose among your opponent enemy ground units. And if you have that equipped to IG-11, pretty nice, because on attack it deals 3 damage to a damaged ground unit. So you can choose which one resolves first. So you can go swing, use Van Brace first to deal 3 damage among your opponent's units, and then trigger IG-11 to then deal 3 damage to one of those ones that you've damaged, which is quite nice. And then you got Hotshot DL44 Blaster. So once again, this is another card that can be used in any build of Mandalorian, because if you're not playing aggression, you can always play it still by smuggling out instead. And it's a cheap unit that if you smuggle out, you get attacked the same turn you equip it, or you can just pay it for 1 to give 2 boosts if you don't want to smuggle it out. But very nice upgrade, more options for like the Mandalorian's kind of focus. So if you want a more aggressive kind of focus, with or a Mandalorian focus being more aggressive than conservative, then you can go for aggression. Also, don't forget there are cards both in the heroic side and the non-aspect side that kind of have a boost with Mandalorian. Like you've got some other Mandalorian cards, like you've got Protector Foam being a cool Mandalorian, a free cost 2/4, and if he's upgraded, it gains Sentinel, and the Mandalorian Warrior, which is a free cost 3/3 that when played gives you an experience to another Mandalorian. So it can't give it to itself, but you can give it to another Mandalorian unit. And also, if you go for a Bounty Hunter focus, you've also got Bounty Guild Initiate, which is a 1 cost 1/2. That when played, if you control another Bounty Hunter unit, so you might be going to go for a focus on Bounty Hunters, then you can deal 2 damage to a ground unit, which is pretty nice. And you even got like this kind of signature thing you normally see from the series, being an event called This Is the Way. So this is a Mandalorian card, which can be searched off any Mandalorian thing that's searched for Mandalorians. There's a 2-cost event that's just the top 8 cards of your deck, so quite deep in for any Mandalorian and or upgrade cards. Reveal them and draw them. So you got a good amount of boosts for this, because you can search for upgrades which you're going to be having in your deck for the Mandalorian's effect. And also Mandalorians if you go for a Mandalorian focus, and you can even find a copy of itself, because it's just Mandalorian cards, not units. Also, don't forget, he is also a starter deck lead, so it means he also has starter deck cards that you can get with the starter deck if you go for that instead of a pre-release. So you've got access to things. So in the same pre-release starter deck is exclusive. You've got Grogu being a 2-cost 0/5 with effect that allows you to tap him, it's also on your opponent's units. Grief Card we've already seen being a 2-cost 2/2 unit. You can play turn 1 to look when played, look at the top 5 cards of your deck to find an upgrade to kind of have it with Mandalorian's focus. You got his own ship as well in the Razor Crest, being a 4-cost 3/4 space unit, which is pretty nice in blue. So if you go for blue, if you want to play this out, has Restore 2, meaning when it attacks, it heals 2 from your base, and when played, you can grab back an upgrade from your discard pile. So go a way to get some of your discard upgrades back to basically use them over again. So especially this is especially good for bounties. If you put a bounty on your opponent's unit, take it out, you're going to lose that bounty's going to go to the discard, and you're going to claim it. So this is a nice way to kind of get back those bounties if you go for a bounty focus for a Mandalorian. And then also you've got the Mandalorian's Rifle being another way to kind of claim bounties as well if you go for bounty focus, because it's an upgrade that is mainly for the Mandalorian, because the free cost upgrade as only gets free power, can't be attached to a vehicle, but when played, if the attached unit is the Mandalorian, which your leader is or the legendary unit is, then you can capture an exhausted non-leader unit. Well, yeah, an enemy non-leader unit. So you can capture anyone your opponent's card is not a leader, put in the Mandalorian. And it gives a free power boost, making them 7/7 if nothing else is equipped. And this is going to be a great way, because remember, bounties are either claimed by defeating the unit it's equipped to, or capturing the card that the bounty is equipped to. Now you might be thinking, what do you get from the benefit of the Mandalorian? Because he gives you the aspects of Cunning and Heroism. So what do you get for yellow-white and for yellow instead? Well, we'll go over that now. And for the yellow-white side, you get some pretty nice cards. You get Ezra Bridger, Millennium Falcon, Han Solo, pretty nice units. Ezra being a quite nice one, where it's quite good stats for its cost, and when he attacks and survives, he allows you to look at the top card of your deck, and you can either choose the option of playing that card if you've got resources, discarding it if you don't like it, or leave it on top of your deck if you want to draw into it. You also got some nice synergy with the old school Millennium Falcon Han Solo characters. But Millennium Falcon be a nice unit you can either smuggle out or play normally. And you can smuggle it out for 6 or play it for 6, but It's a 6 cost 5/5, but if you play it from your hand, so if you don't smuggle it, it gains ambush, which could be very useful. And you got Han Solo here as well, which is 7 cost 6/6, so a little bit stronger than Millennium Falcon, but he does have ambush. And he also has when attacking, this unit deals combat damage for the defender. So it means if you deal damage and take out that unit, it won't do any damage back to you after. You also have some really nice events as well. Like Spark Rebellion being a nice hand control one. Now you look at your opponent's hand, discard a card from it. It only costs 2, so you can use it as early as turn 1. A very nice way to go for like a good turn 1 play, or even a nice way to kind of rip out cards from your opponent's hand you don't want them to have. If they got a Dark Saber, rip that out before they can equip it, something that you don't want them to equip it to, or things like Super Laser Blast, like an event that's later on in the game you don't want them to wipe out your board, ditch it from their hand. You also got Spare the Target, but another way to kind of claim bounties without attacking, and unfortunately it isn't like the best way, but it's a nice way to do it because it's a free cost event that returns an enemy non-leader unit to their owner's hand, and you collect that unit's bounties. You can kind of put a bounty on it, or if they're bounty themselves, put it back in their hand and claim the bounties. But usually you don't want to do that because you don't want to give them back the card, you normally take them out. But if you can't take them out, this can be another way to kind of claim them still. And then lastly, for the just yellow stuff, you got pretty nice stuff. Like you got Outer and Headhunter being a nice space unit, which if you got the leader out and it survives and stays out, you can get more benefits because when it attacks, if you control a leader unit, you can, like it's deployed, you can exhaust a non-leader unit, so kind of tap things down while getting some like little chip damage in. And you also got some pretty nice upgrades in like Snapshot Reflex and Jetpack, being very good upgrades you put on. Snapshot Reflex allowing you to attack the same turn as, well, when equipped, allows you to attack with that unit and gives it a 1/1 boost for 1. So pretty nice there to get some like swings in, plus also trigger the Mandalorian's effect as well. And then Jetpack being a way to help you like boost up a unit, trigger the Mandalorian's effect, and kind of give you a shield to take out units and manage board. Not only that, you also got like some nice cards to go with the bounty kind of stuff, where you got Bounty Posting being a 1-cost event that allows you to search your deck for any bounty. So one of the 2 cards that can look for your deck, grab anything, and then grab a certain kind of thing, and then shuffle your deck. So there are only 1 or 2 cards that can shuffle your deck, which is very, very unique because it allows you to look for your deck for a bounty, upgrade it, or a bounty upgrade, reveal it, and draw it. So you basically shuffle your deck. And then if you've got the resources to play it, you can play it straight away. So rather than wait a turn to play it, or wait an action to play it, you can play it straight away with this as long as you've got the resources to do it. So a nice way that if you go for a bounty focus, the Mandalorian just gives you access to bounty posting, allows you basically make sure you're consistent with the bounties, essentially having more copies than normal because you've got these as like pseudo copies to kind of find them straight from your deck. And another way to claim those bounties without need to attack is a Relentless Pursuit. Now this is a 3-cost event that allows you to choose a friendly unit, and it captures a friendly non-leader unit that costs the same as or less than it. Remember, leaders also do technically have a cost. They're the cost in the corner when deployed, which is normally the amount of resources they need to deploy. So for Mandalorian units, 6. So the Mandalorian can capture something that costs 6 or less. And if the friendly unit is a bounty hunter, which remember the Mandalorian is, you can give a shield token to it. So you can allow the Mandalorian to then go ahead and capture one of your opponent's units, that's 6 or less. And then because he's a bounty hunter, he gains a shield, which means it's even harder to kind of get like your opponent to rescue the card underneath it because they got to go for the Mandalorian with his great stats and a shield as well. So that is it. That is the video. So I hope that's helped you understand the Mandalorian, which kind of aspects kind of benefit you, and which one you like to go through when building the deck to suit you and your playstyle. So that is all the leaders for the set 2. So when set 3 comes about, like very, very, well, that's ages away now, but when set 3 eventually comes out, we'll do it over again with all the leaders in that set and help you by bringing this useful series that many of you found helpful. So that's it today. Thank you for watching. Feel free to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll catch you next one. Bye for now.